Word of a target date of January 8th for quarantine-free cross-border travel up north. A double-decker accident in Chengguano leaving at least 20 people injured. And missiles rained down on Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities at the start of the new year. Hello and welcome to TVB News. In Chief Executive John Lee's New Year speech, the city's leader vowed to bring pre-pandemic normalcy back to people's daily lives. Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan unveiled more details on border reopening plans with the mainland, with quotas set for the first phase. He confirmed the government is eyeing January 8th to reboot quarantine-free cross-border travel up north. As his first order of business in the new year, Chief Executive John Lee vowed to implement the initiatives laid out in the policy address in 2023 and bring Hong Kong back to pre-pandemic normalcy.
2023年必定會有一番新氣象。
In his New Year message, Lee said he is sure 2023 will usher in a new chapter for the city, and the government will try its utmost to lead Hong Kong out of the shadows of the pandemic. In messages published in newspapers, Lee extended hope that quarantine-free travel between Hong Kong and the mainland will soon materialize in a gradual and orderly manner. Today, more clarity on that from Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan. In his weekly blog, the city's #2 official wrote that the government looks set to fully reopen the border with the mainland as early as January 8th. On that same day, China is also reopening its borders to the world. Chan is helming the task force coordinating work across 15 bureaus to iron out details with mainland authorities for the reopening plans. He says some checkpoints that have been shuttered for 3 years are poised to reboot operations. In the initial phase, quota arrangements on travelers will be in place. Chan said the frequency of sea, land, and air transport will be ratcheted up to meet demand. He recommends travelers from both sides undergo PCR tests before crossing the border. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Lam Se-hung revealed that drills will be conducted across various cross-border transport modes as part of the preparations. Business representatives welcomed the January 8th target date and suggested the quota on travelers could be set at around 50,000 a day. Danny Lau, honorary chairman of the Hong Kong Small and Medium Enterprises Association, said the government could set a larger cap to facilitate business exchanges. But he said not a lot of Hong Kong business people would be keen to go up north in the initial phase because most factories will only resume operations after the upcoming Spring Festival. Speaking on a radio program today, Chief Executive John Lee talked about his plan to visit the Middle East early this year. He said the visit aims to strengthen the economic ties with the region and attract foreign businesses to invest in the city. Lee said he will work on promoting Hong Kong to the world, as well as letting the world understand the real situation in Hong Kong. Also, the chief executive said his experience in risk management helps him take up his role as a city leader. Lee said the past few months have been the busiest time of his life so far, but he emphasized that the fact that he's practiced Qigong, a type of moving meditation, for 25 years has helped his body to recover quickly. A double-decker bus turned on the side in Chengguano this afternoon, leaving at least 20 people injured. The accident involving a city bus route 796P happened on Lohas Park Road at around 5 p.m. Around a dozen passengers were trapped inside the bus before firefighters extricated them out of the vehicle. Bus operator New World First Bus Services apologized to all the passengers involved. It said the bus driver responsible had a day off yesterday and did not work overtime today. Police are investigating the cause of the accident. Hong Kong today reported 23,361 new COVID infections, a drop of around 6,000 compared with the day before. 326 of the cases were imported, and 62 more patients died in public hospitals. Meanwhile, the chief executive of hospital authorities said the daily COVID tally is expected to rise after the easing of social distancing measures and the resumption of cross-border travel with the mainland. And health authorities will implement more measures to protect high-risk groups, especially the elderly and children. Chrissy Khan has more.
While the city's daily COVID tally has been lingering around the 20,000 mark in recent days, patients are having difficulties in booking remote medical consultation or services at designated clinics. HA Go, a mobile app developed by the hospital authority, shows that services are fully booked for the coming 2 days at all 7 designated clinics across Hong Kong. The same for remote medical consultation services. 13 private hospitals in the city also offer similar services to COVID-infected people, but with charges. In his blog post, Tony Ko, chief executive of the hospital authority, said the service quota for high-risk groups, such as the elderly and children, will be raised at designated clinics and in remote consultation services. However, sources say some public hospitals may have to cut non-emergency services to facilitate the move. Ko said the hospital authority will ensure an adequate supply of the 2 antiviral drugs, Paxlovid and Molnupiravir, as well as paracetamol. He added that the authorities will optimize the resources to make sure eligible patients will have access to treatment and medicine. However, he said the visiting arrangements at public hospital will not be adjusted for the time being, citing the current transmission risk of COVID in the community. Ko said the authorities will review the policy and relax the rules if the situation further stabilizes. Christy Khan, TVB News.
China's top diplomat Wang Yi calls for dialogue and cooperation with the U.S. for the new year in his New Year's Day article. The article's byline also revealed Wang's new role as head of the ruling Communist Party's Foreign Affairs Office. In the official party journal Seeking Truth, Wang wrote an essay about his take on the new journey of Chinese diplomacy with Chinese characteristics. It showed the 69-year-old's title became the director of the Office of the Central Foreign Affairs Commission, succeeding Yang Jieqi. In the essay, Wang rejected U.S. framing of China ties as a rivalry between a democracy and an authoritarian government. He said they should seek course correction for both countries to get along with each other. Still, Wang noted Taiwan remains the foundations on which China's political relationship with the United States is built. On Friday, former Chinese ambassador to the U.S. Qin Gang replaced Wang as China's foreign minister. Experts on the mainland expect most provinces to see the peak of the pandemic around January and February this year. Guangzhou authorities said they have reached a peak and expect the outbreak to level off before the Lunar New Year. Chrissy Khan reports.
With COVID outbreaks sweeping major provinces recently, Sichuan and Hainan have reported over half of their permanent residents were infected. While the Guangzhou Health Commission said they have seen a drop in visits to the city's clinics, declining from 60,000 daily visits to 20,000. Facing pandemic uncertainties, some residents are panic buying COVID drugs, with some even purchasing generic ones at high price on the black market. Zhang Baoli, a fellow of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, admitted the scale of this wave of the pandemic is beyond expectations. He added so-called drugs specific for COVID can only be helpful if someone takes it within 5 days of being infected. Zhang said both Chinese and Western medicines played a key role, the latter helping with respiratory and circulatory system, while the former can cope with clinical symptoms such as high fever. He urged residents to use medicines wisely. Meanwhile, for those who have recovered from COVID, some are enjoying the New Year holidays. Walking past, sliding with self-made ski stools and sticks, Beijing residents are having fun on the ice at Lianma River. Many shopping malls in Chaoyang district have reverted to the pre-pandemic environment. Traffic jams were evident on the way to popular sightseeing places. This resident said her family members have all recovered from COVID and wishes they stay healthy in the new year. Meanwhile, authorities called on the public to reduce gatherings even after recovering. Christy Khan, TVB News.
Ukrainians welcomed the new year with air raid sirens and explosions as missiles continue to rain down on the capital, Kyiv, and other cities. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin delivered heartfelt New Year addresses to their people. Their rhetoric suggesting peace is still far away. Nasri Karim reports.
As many cities around the world welcome the new year with fireworks and cheers, the haunting shrill of air raid sirens and deafening explosions pervaded the night sky over Ukraine soon after midnight. Terror on New Year's Eve was how one official described it, but still, some people celebrated on the streets, with Ukraine saying Russia fired more than 20 cruise missiles into Kiev and other cities around the country. One person reportedly died and 14 others were injured as Ukrainians soak in the fact that the new year does not mean new hope for peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tried his best to lift the mood among compatriots, delivering an emotional 17-minute New Year's message shortly before midnight. "I wish one thing to all of us now, the victory," Zelensky said. "Let this year be the year of return, the return of our people, warriors to their families, captives to their homes, displaced people to their Ukraine." He added that the 4 regions in the east and south that Russia claimed to have annexed will be returned to Ukraine and free forever. Cries of glory to Ukraine and glory to the heroes rang out in the capital amid the explosions. Ukrainian officials say 23 air objects, including what is believed to be drones, were destroyed, with the attacks also recorded in Kherson, the northern Zhytomyr region, and Zaporizhia. In his New Year's address to the nation, Russian President Vladimir Putin hit out at Western allies, accusing them of using Ukraine and its people to undermine Russia. With men and women in military uniform standing behind him, Putin said it was a year of difficult and necessary decisions aimed at gaining full sovereignty for Russia. The Russian leader also visited the military headquarters of the southern district in Rostov-on-Don to meet troops fighting in Ukraine. In video footage released on Saturday, he was seen exchanging words of encouragement and cheering in the new year with soldiers. He told them that Russia was pushed to this line: either we give up everything or we fight. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Welcome back. New Year celebrations have swept across the globe, ushering in 2023 with countdowns and fireworks, marking the end of a year that brought war to Europe, a new chapter in the British monarchy, and global worries over inflation. The new year began in the tiny atoll nation of Kiribati in the Central Pacific, then moved across New Zealand, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. Tracy Furness reports.
Thousands gathered in New York's Times Square Saturday to welcome 2023 with the traditional dropping ball countdown. There were plenty of kisses and fireworks. Earlier, London brought in the new year with a spectacular fireworks display on the River Thames, with Big Ben counting down to midnight. The London Eye turned blue and yellow in solidarity with Ukraine.
Thank you for supporting Ukraine.
In Paris, the countdown flashed on the Arc de Triomphe as 1 million people gathered on the Champs-Élysées to ring in 2023. In Berlin, a fireworks display lit up the skyline around the German capital's TV tower landmark. In Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, the New Year was celebrated with a spectacular fireworks and laser display at the Burj Khalifa. And in Japan, a sign of a return to normality after years of COVID-19 restrictions, thousands gathered at the Sensoji Buddhist temple in Tokyo to welcome in the new year. More than 1,000 guests were selected to ring the traditional New Year's Eve bell, Joya no Kane, a Japanese tradition celebrating the passing of the old year while welcoming the new. The temple bell rings 108 times, once for each of the worldly desires or anxieties central to Buddhism. It starts as the clock strikes midnight. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Croatia has joined the Eurozone, expanding the currency bloc to 20 countries. The country has also joined the Schengen zone. Joining Schengen allows the free movement of people and goods without border checks among the 27 member countries. Croatia joined the European Union in 2013, but to adopt the euro, the country had to fulfill a set of strict economic conditions. The Croatian kuna and the euro will be in dual use for only 14 days, but people shopping will only receive change in euros. Zagreb joining Schengen means Croatia now, not Slovenia, will be charged with policing the eastern borders with non-EU neighbors Bosnia, Serbia and Montenegro. Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry said 40 applicants who had earlier applied for the positions as payload specialists of China's manned space program have been recommended for the second stage for the recruitment process. Swindong said the shortlisted candidates will undergo physical examinations and psychological assessments in the next stage. He added that he had met with the 40 candidates in person. Sun said that he is impressed by the hopefuls, as they are all professionals and have a passion for aeronautics. The innovation chief also expressed his hope that at least one candidate from Hong Kong can be selected to join the manned space program. Hong Kong welcomed the first baby of 2023 in Union Hospital in Sha Tin at 43 minutes past midnight. Aiden Chan, the baby boy, weighed 6.5 pounds and is this couple's third child. Delivering naturally, Mrs. Chan said she did not plan to give birth on New Year's Day, but added the baby boy is the best New Year gift to her. As for New Year wishes, the couple hope the pandemic could pass soon and they can return to their pre-pandemic lifestyle. Meanwhile, another baby boy was also born on New Year's Day, weighing about 7.7 pounds. The boy was born at Kwong Wah Hospital around 1:50 a.m. Over 600 Hong Kongers joined in the once-a-year New Year winter swim this morning. With the temperature only 18 Celsius in the morning, some 605 swimmers still braved the cold and participated in the competition. Starting from Middle Bay Beach, swimmers aged from 6 to 76 raced the 600 meters to Repulse Bay Beach. 16-year-old Wang Hoi Wai won the women's public group race in 6 minutes 48 seconds. Wong Ai Lam, also 16, won the men's public group with a time of just over 7 minutes. All participants who completed the race received a lucky coin of the Year of the Rabbit, wishing them good luck in the new year. That's the news. Happy New Year again, and thank you for watching.